Now is the time to determine which of the first players moving into the round of 16 from this group shall be. We have our two players on the way. It's going to be DIMAGA versus HasuObs.
That's right. It's going to be a great Zerg versus Protoss coming your way. Ukraine versus Germany. Two experienced players. Funnily enough, we talked about HasuObs and his long-term veterancy as a player. This guy, very much so, like DIMAGA, have both been in the scene for a long time, whether it be Brood War, whether it be Warcraft 3. Both of them have played for 7, 8, 9 years. Long, long time in esports.
Definitely. And DIMAGA is actually one of those players that at the very beginning of StarCraft 2 was winning those weekly cups.
Yep.
So his consistency throughout the entirety of StarCraft 2 has always been there from the very word go. And now, going up against HasuObs, again, he's a mixed bag. Either he plays against a Zerg who goes for crazy swarm host Stefano-like styles, and then the game draws out to like an hour and a half long, and I mean one game, not an entire series, or he goes the other side of the spectrum and can be very aggressive.
Yeah, looking at both of these players, they play, I wouldn't say similar, but when it comes to their success in StarCraft 2, I'd say that was very similar. I think DIMAGA probably a little bit more successful, though, especially with tournament wins. He's been able to win a tournament and finish very high towards the end in international tournaments. Inside Germany, though, HasuObs is the big daddy. He is winning a lot of tournaments. I think, is it HasuObs or Soke that has won more tournaments?
If you count StarCraft 2 EPSs, I think Soke has won one more. Well, we'll get back into this game in a second. But I think Soke has won one more, but HasuObs is on route to win another EPS. I feel in this current EPS, it was Soke versus Hasu in Cup 1 and Cup 3 in the finals. And HasuObs has got it down in terms of PvP, and Soke is his really big rival here, which he keeps beating.
Okay, do you think that DIMAGA wins this series and advances to the round of 16, or HasuObs does?
Wow, tough question.
It is very difficult.
It is, because they're so closely matched, I think, here.
Yeah.
I would say that DIMAGA will probably win it out in the mid-game, I feel. If it goes any further than the mid-game and HasuObs decides to just never do anything, he's actually pretty good in that situation. I've seen him time and time again go up against players like Hanfi in the German scene, who won an EPS himself a few seasons ago and did pretty well for himself. But Hasu was able to bring the fight to him and shut him down.
I reckon early mid-game. So let's talk about early game being between 6-7 minutes. Anytime up to then, DIMAGA wins. I reckon anytime up to 50 minutes, 14-50 minutes, DIMAGA wins. Anything other than that, HasuObs wins.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Because I think HasuObs looking at his style, we talked about it before, against Terran, he'd like to drag it on, but against Zerg plays, he opens up really aggressively, whether it be Warp Prison plays, whether it be simple 6-7 +1 attack gateway, timings. So I think if he plays anything along those lines, especially considering how we saw DIMAGA play earlier, I think DIMAGA's going to clean it up very easily.
Yeah.
But if he's able to go 4, 5, 6 bases, Tempest, Storm, Void Ray together as one, then I think that's where HasuObs is going to win the games. So if he is going to win this series, we're going to be here for a while to find out if he does.
Yeah, we're opening things up with Belshia Vestige, and then the second map after it, interestingly, will be Derelict Watcher, which I was not expecting for a second map here between these two guys. But we can jump into game number 1 now, as we have our two players ready to go. And spawning up to the top left-hand corner as our blue Protoss, looking to advance onto the round of 16, he is Mao's HasuObs. And spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, a very fierce opponent from Season 1. How will he fare in Season 2? He is Rocket DIMAGA.
Rocket. We'll see how well he can represent his new sponsor today. That's actually happening a lot in StarCraft 2 recently. Less teams, more agencies, I like to say. A lot of, individuals covering a certain amount of players and getting them their own deals. And funnily enough, the guy that predicted this happening a long time ago, and I will honestly say that, is Too Good. Mentioned this a long time ago, that this would eventually be the case. And yeah, I'd love to talk about it, guys. Maybe on a different time, different show. But today we got to focus on this game right here in front of us.
We do, and now we'll see how well DIMAGA's going to be able to deal with Hasu. And I am lagging. I am going to leave the game, and that's going to be the last time.
You will see my name.
Bye-bye.
All right, Kalaris. I'm sorry, man. You just remember to behave.
Yeah.
Especially on those Friday, Saturday nights. I know what you'll like.
Hashtag
All right.
behave.
We have an early forge inside the main base.
Ooh.
And I would not be surprised to see that cannon rush that we have seen on the natural many a time before. And this is a hashtag behave moment to HasuObs.
Maybe, yeah.
You cheeky German.
Well,
yeah, I think he's gonna go for it now.
you reckon he's going to go SOS style?
Especially if HasuObs is watching game 1 and game 2 against Duck.
Yeah.
Hatchery first every game makes perfect sense. In this case, that's not there. Is the Overlord going to see it? Yes. Does HasuObs now pull out? You know, it's always wise to pull out before it's too late.
We'll see. He might make a pylon on the high ground and go for that. I mean, I've seen him do it once or twice. It's not been too much of his forte, though. As behind this, he's going for that Nexus, getting everything going on and good to go.
Yeah, he does pull out. And that was the right decision. It was the right decision.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
In the heat of the moment, it was the right decision.
I would agree so. It's worked out for him all right there. As the cannon's going to go down behind all of this as well. And even that gateway. So walling things off, getting himself good to go. He's playing it safe. You've always got to be safe.
Always got to be safe.
Yep. Got to be safe, man.
That's right.
Protection.
As the game does continue, I'm not going to crack. There is no possibilities of that happening today. As we do have the third base going to be taken here by DIMAGA. Sometimes I like to walk in it, and I did today. But anyway, you know, looking at this build, as HasuObs, you know, he's got a pylon too many now at the moment, and especially now the Nexus. Watch his supply; it's already 20 and then 34 if you look at the top numbers. When that Nexus completes, even higher. So because of the way that this planned out with the pylon and the forge in the main base, I 100% guarantee to you that he was going to cannon rush.
Yeah.
But now he's had to adjust into it, and now he's like 22 over 44.
That's weird.
That's a very, very large. You never want to open your supply out that high unless you're a Zerg player building a lot of units all at once. That's not the case here for HasuObs, who cannot, you know, afford to do what he probably planned to set up. For example, his pro production isn't going to be as consistent. He's not credible all the time. The Zealot was late here, and it's just not the best
and this was
setup.
This was clever from DIMAGA, knowing that his opponent would have probably seen that series prior, knowing that that would have been the case, and making sure that he didn't go hatchery first to be exploited like that. DIMAGA taking very, very good precautions here. In game 2, he may go for hatchery first, thinking, with HasuObs thinking, oh, well, he's probably not going to do it this time, but it might be there.
But we do just have regular play coming down by DIMAGA, taking the second and, first and second gas on the natural. And that's a good time, or just 5 minutes 50. That's going to allow him to go over to Zergling speed quite early. Probably play a single evolution chamber, relatively fast layer, depending on what he scouts from his opponent, which is going to be the next stage of this game. Is DIMAGA trying to find out, is it Robo, Twilight, or Stargate? The 3 tech choices you can choose from when finishing up with a Cybernetical. Depending on what you see, changes your overall game plan most of the time.
And with that now, Stargate is on the way. HasuObs, he's gone for quite a few Stargate plays in the past, be it just full committal to Phoenix and then expansion play, or something from the Phoenix play into maybe other potential aggressions. It's happened in the past.
It has happened in the past, and you know, history repeats itself, Kalaris. It does very often. 12 Zerglings on the way. And this is just because he doesn't know exactly what's going on. This is to, you know, take map control. Make sure there's no Zealot running across the map, or Stalker, or anything that could threaten his third base Queen and drone line. Very normal, just kind of 12 Zerglings at this point. Then the more normal part of DIMAGA's play is the single evolution chamber and now Roach Warren. Roach Warren is safety precautions against anything. Remember, DIMAGA still hasn't seen what he's actually going up against. But from the evolution chamber, it should be a +1 attack, and we should be seeing a layer start any second. There it pops up.
Really wants to cover his bases here. Very important double Void Ray opening here from HasuObs. What do you make of that, Sean?
Double Void Ray, it depends on what he adds on after this. He can go ahead and expand off 4 gateways and double Void Rays and just take a third base earlier than you would normally.
Yeah.
I'd say the normal time for a third base is around 10 minutes to 10:30, but he can get that much, much earlier if he uses these units to be defensive with. But if we see him add on additional gateways very shortly, then it turns into an attack. So it's really what he adds on after these 2 gateways finish up.
He has a pylon positioned in his main as well that could potentially throw that down if he wanted to. As well as now, the Zerglings poising themselves down to the bottom right to make sure that they could go for counterattacks if they needed to. DIMAGA's always keeping his eyes on that kind of play. The Robo Facility goes down as well, teching up a little bit, maybe to secure that third.
Yeah, he's going to take his third, so there's the choice. He added on the Robotics Facility, not more gateways, though this is going to enable him to switch over into Colossus quite fast in this game. Just super normal play from HasuObs coming out.
And with that, HasuObs has been spotted entirely. These Zerglings trying to go for some aggression themselves, but in the process, see the Nexus going down, see the attempt at securing that position. So he throws down that Infestation Pit, he goes for the Hydralisk Den, making sure he's all okay. And so many drones, there was 18 drones on the way at that point.
DIMAGA loves his drones, man. He's only built those Lings at the start of the game, so his economy is just blooming at this point. But with the Hydralisk Den coming down, we will see +2 attack, and we'll see the Hydralisk speed being made. And then we'll also, range, sorry, but he's also going to add the Hive, like, instantly at this point. The Hive is going to be to get towards Vipers really fast. And then with going over to Vipers, he's going to look to pull those Colossus away from the third base. So now DIMAGA is building a timing towards hitting when there's only 2, maybe 3 Colossus out, and allow his Hydras to do the rest of the damage. And basically maxing out ASAP is DIMAGA's plan.
And we've seen this a lot from Zergs in the past. There's been a few iterations of the build. We've seen Hyun go for super fast Hives to try and really catch their opponent off guard with this. But now this is a little bit more to the standard here for DIMAGA. But once again, HasuObs comes along, sees everything that's going on, sees the Hive timing and lack of Aspire at the moment.
So what he needs to focus on now is just still get Colossus, but the Twilight Council is the next structure that should come down in terms of his tech. Maybe a Twilight Council and a second Forge would be smart as well, but he needs to aim towards getting Templar Archives down. There's a Twilight Council coming down. And the reason why he needs a Templar Archives, very simply, to feed back the timing that's coming. He scouted it. He saw exactly what's going on. So he knows what he has to do.
And now, I mean, behind this, DIMAGA taking other bases as well. While setting up the particular timing that he wants to go for, he's not throwing away the economic position that he has himself currently in. He's doing a good job of retaining that. HasuObs is poking around in the middle of the map as well. He does have the access to that recall if he wants to, so he's not in too much problems. And he's just adding on to the Void Ray count, which I really, really like here from HasuObs.
Yeah, man. Void Ray Colossus. Oh, baby, baby, baby. They are the best units to mess around with together as a combination. But there's a Templar Archives coming down. High Templar are a must here. The Vipers are on their way. Even though he'll have the Templar down, it doesn't necessarily mean he'll hit the feedbacks. So it will come down to skill. Ideally, at this point, before the Vipers are ready, before DIMAGA's maxed out, HasuObs would like to get a snipe on a hatchery. The left one, probably, because the right one had all the units at it. If he was able to do that and recall, best scenario. Slow his opponent down while getting ready for the timing. But he knows with the creep spread that's out there, that's probably not going to be a viable option.
And HasuObs, once again, goes into a very, very common build for him, throwing down an extra Stargate so that he can try and get up to a few more air units, be it those extra Void Rays if he wants to get those out. Once he gets up to his standard composition, his ultimate composition of Colossus, Void Rays, High Templars in the mix there, HasuObs is feeling pretty, but this is that timing you were talking about.
If he loses his Colossus already, oh, you're going to be so careful, buddy. The Vipers are ready to pull them in. He's got to feedback them.
And that dance between the High Templars and Vipers does begin here. Time Warp goes down, and he tries to feed back one of them. The second one does get one of the grabs, but there's not enough firepower in position.
Micro, look at he pulled the Colossus back, but he simply doesn't have enough units. If he needs to keep him warping, he's got so much money, but so little gateways.
Void Ray's doing a lot of damage here as well, whilst with that charge. They weren't necessarily making full use of that charge because they were focused down on the Hydralisks that were trying to kill those off, but in the end, they did kill off a lot of those numbers. If he could just kill off those 4 Hydralisks left over, he would have full reign over this position, but now the lack of gateway forces, as well as another pull, does kill off one of those Colossus falling down that ramp, and now HasuObs has to play super defensively here.
Yeah, he's only on 9 gateways. His money is so high. He was at 1,500 mirrors at that point. Definitely should have been at higher gateway count sooner in this game. He's lost a lot, Klaris. He may have lost too much.
Yeah, he may have done. He's trying to kill off those Hydralisks where he can. They will eventually all melt away. But Muscular Augments is still in abundance here for him. But there you go. GG. HasuObs cannot hold off the extra torrent that was going to come there from DIMAGA.
Yeah, the timing was hit very nicely there. I actually originally, upon watching that fight, thought HasuObs was going to pull off the sickest of holds there. He got the feedbacks. The second Colossus almost made it.
Force fields were good.
Force fields were initially good, but then the flood came in. He didn't keep on warping the units. He may have not have had enough gateways. I'm not sure exactly without looking in the replay to find out the very specific reason why he didn't have enough units at that point, because he should have been able to hold it off. Force fields should have been able to hold everything back there, but unfortunately for him, that wasn't the case. And DIMAGA was able to break through, hitting his timing that he wished to hit.
And now that means the second game will be on Derelict Watcher, which I was not expecting as a second map in this map pool, I'll be honest. It's going to be a tough time here for HasuObs, as DIMAGA is pretty good on this map.
Yeah, the next map, so it's a great map for DIMAGA here for sure. It's very difficult to be able to, again, we talked about this a lot. This is the main reason why the map pool is not the best for Protoss players. Newkirk, this map, Star Station are very much out in the open. That's where you do not want to be against the way that Zerg players like to play with their swarm coming in. Because back in the day, you didn't really care about big open maps because Zerg players weren't surrounding properly. They weren't engaging properly until Stefano hit the scene, teaching everybody how to do it the boss way. And he comes in from many different angles. Now every Zerg player does. And that, in an open area, you don't have enough force fields. And even if you do, you only have one spin of force fields. And then you're empty, you're out of sentry energy. And then the second attack comes in, then you die. So he's got to play this out smartly, whether it be a 2-base all-in, whether he constructs a wall of pylons and gateways to make a wall without force fields. I don't know.
That's going to be tough. That is going to be tough here as we go on to game number 2. DIMAGA, 1 game away from advancing onto the round of 16, where he rightfully believes he needs to be and deserves. That's where he wants to be, man.
He needs to get back up there. Remember how important it is for both these players. HasuObs hasn't scored that many WCS points this season yet. Nope. He got into Premier League, but straight back out. He got a couple of hundred, I suppose, if I was the guess.
300.
I was going to say 4. I was going to say 4. 300 points. DIMAGA, on the other hand, is up to 15 or so, 1,500-ish points.
Yep.
And that's putting him top 15. So HasuObs needs to climb up in points. Likewise, though, DIMAGA needs to keep climbing. He needs to keep on going if he wants to see himself be able to make it and stay in the top 16 for that BlizzCon 16-player tournament, which will happen at the end of the year to conclude the WCS first year.
Yep.
Yes, 2013.
3 seasons.
Yeah.
It's going to be an awesome one, but we still have a long way to go until then.
We are only in the round of 32. You just got to take a step back and realize that I always do that. You know, watching early stages of tournaments, you just kind of just forget. You just kind of mass games, and you just kind of don't really bring in what's happening. And then all of a sudden, you kind of wake up out of your days and you're in the round of 8.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, you've got to remember how the players got there. And this is exactly how they get there, through playing these games today, which we're focusing very heavily on. We already have 6 players advance into the round of 16. And today we'll find out 2 more that will make it through. The first player will be the winner of this next game that we have currently loading up between these 2. And then down in the lower side of this tournament, or this group, should I say, we have Duck Duck and also Daishi waiting for their opportunity to claim those points and to climb the ladder.
And I think one of the most fantastic things that you kind of brought up about tournament structures and kind of allowing things to get a little bit ahead of ourselves or whatever, with a tournament like WCS and the dual tournament system, you see every game that happens in the entire tournament. It's awesome to see just every single game that actually occurs. You think to other tournaments, like over a weekend, it's impossible to cover every single game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, community streams do an all right job of it, but it's hard to watch every single game from a spectator's perspective. But in this kind of tournament, you see everything, and as long as you're here for the ride with us, well, welcome to have you.
That's right. Welcome to the ride of the round of 32. Do you know what's really cool about? There's a percentage of people, when they watch us, they watch the VODs.
Yeah.
So right now,
High VODs.
We're in the past.
Yeah. To some people.
To some people.
Oh, we're in the past for everyone, actually, now that I think about it.
Well, it depends on how you say it. Technically, we're in the future. of the stream right now.
You're right.
Because we are a couple minutes delayed and whatnot. So we are getting into the game now. It should be ready in just a couple moments' time. Thank you for your patience, you guys at home. I heart you very much, and I hope you heart us too.
And now, spawning up to the top right-hand corner, we hope you heart him. He's currently 1 game down. He needs your hearts. He is Mao's HasuObs. And spawning down to the left-hand corner, he's stolen a lot of hearts. And he's done well for himself thus far. 1 game away from the round of 16. He is DIMAGA.
And remember, the round of 16 means you are coming to Cologne, Germany, baby. Where the beer is flowing and the city's alive. It's like a Las Vegas catchphrase of Cologne. The beer is flowing and the city's alive. And the StarCraft esports scene is incredible.
Cologne is one of the hearts of esports in Europe.
Cloris, I'll be honest with you. I'll go ahead and say it is the heart of esports in Europe.
I
Because
would
it
say,
has
I didn't want to go
LCS
too far.
here, WCS here, ESL here, we are here.
We get it all done.
Kenneget's here.
Kenneget's here.
It has to be the heart of esports. I mean, he left Canada to come here. It has to be the heart, right?
Yeah. He knows what the heart is.
The second heart, though, don't worry, is 100% Stockholm,
Yep.
Sweden. With the DreamHack
Definitely.
tournaments that run throughout the year. Much love to everyone back in Sweden. I hope you're drinking that fresh Swedish water. I'm now drinking fizzy water here in Germany.
Europe has 2 hearts, I would say. It's like Doctor Who. Does Doctor Who have 2 hearts?
He's human. I'd say he has 1.
No. I think he has 2. He's a Time Lord. He's not human.
I don't watch Doctor Who.
Nor do I, man. Anyway, whatever. All right, so what do we have going on? Spawning pool opener from DIMAGA, not deviating things up after the forge in base from Hasu, just in case there would have been that hatchery first.
It is 17 forge though, so
Oh, yeah, it's late.
This is much later. If he ever tried to pull a cannon rush here, even against a hatchery first, he'd probably still fail.
Yeah.
So it's definitely just going to be straight down for this Nexus, and we'll play on the game from here. But you know, the same theory applies here. Is that trying to play out a third base with minimal units is bad. It's not a theory, it's a law. So he's got to work his way around that.
Yeah, he does. You're right. And now HasuObs here. Well, he's going to try and play out a standards game to kind of work around that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he went for some kind of 2-base aggression like you were saying before. On the map this open, it's really difficult to get up that third base. And then if you do go for that third base, you have to situate yourself in between those 2 bases to defend it. It's really open.
Yeah,
really open.
that's the main problem on this map. But we'll see how HasuObs wants to work his way around it. Luckily for us, we're just the nerds talking about what's actually going to happen. It's HasuObs, the brain box here, which is going to figure out how to combat that. As he does poke into the natural, and he'll move up slightly north now, hopefully, to check the third base. And upon seeing the third base now, he knows that a gas has not been taken from DIMAGA. He has no problems whatsoever to worry about in the early stages of this game. So this is the time to start thinking about that game plan. What is it going to be? Is it going to be a straight-up Stargate play with Phoenix harassment as normal? Does he try Void Ray play again? There's multiple options from HasuObs to choose from, and he's the only one right now, apart from his, what? You know when you have the devil and the angel?
Angel, yeah.
What? That's your conscience, right?
Conscience, yeah.
So that's the only thing that could get in his way from making that decision is his conscience. There's one.
It's not
kind
me.
of-
Sorry.
There's one side of him saying, 2 base, all in. Do it.
That's the little devil guy.
That's the devil. And the other one's like,
Yeah.
play really safe. Play really safe and take a third base.
That one gets
Try
pushed
to
away
survive.
to the side.
And then it was like, just all in the guy.
Just all in.
He's got to be a
HasuObs.
lot more assertive. It's not like, go all in. It's like, you must all in. He's got to be very assertive because that is the way that the conscience works in StarCraft 2.
He's got a machine-like voice. He's German. They're very efficient. And with that now, HasuObs. Where's he sending that as a Stalker? He's moving out into the middle of the map. He found a Zergling. Oh well. He's going to go for a Stargate behind this. So sticking to what he knows.
Stargate and +1 though, very shortly after
Ooh,
it. So this could be Phoenix harassment into a +1 attack, very similar to how we saw Mana play against DIMAGA play against TLO yesterday. But getting the +1 attack down, definitely looking to do something. A Void Ray +1 attack. Mixing up these two together could be very similar kind of style. Definitely, I'm going to say 2 Void Ray, Glorious. Okay, it's not you.
It's not me, man. It's not me. I'm not there.
I'm going to say 2 Void Ray, Mass Gateway, +1 attack.
All right.
That's what I watched. He's listening to the devil.
He's listening to the devil.
He's listening to the devil.
I like it. Well, if tradition holds with these two players, then technically HasuObs should tie up the series. The reason I say that is because these guys have had so many close series in the past. It's been 26 map wins to 19 map losses in favor of DIMAGA. And then that has accumulated to 7-7 in series. So close over their entire careers. So HasuObs, if fate dictates it, this is going to tie it up, Apollo.
He's got a lot of gas, though. 4 assimilators incredibly early, but there are the 4 gateways coming in. An additional 4 gateways, tying up to 5 in total.
Yeah.
So that's 2 Void Rays with +1 attack and 5 gateways powering this behind it, if I can count. I can count. Because I watched the trailer of Count Dracula earlier.
You did?
Yeah, Count Dracula earlier.
Yeah, the theme tunes as well.
Yep, so I'm ready. I can count, and it is going to be 5. Is he going to... He's got so much gas, so that's the weird part. If he was to attack, you'd expect Zealots, right? He's got so much gas. Unless he's playing super safe with 5 gateways.
Does he got really crazy sentry? That would be... defy all sense at this point.
I mean, the thing is, he's doing this blind. He has absolutely no idea. If you look in HasuObs' vision, he's got no idea. He's just completely made a plan and is going for it.
Yeah.
It's only 5 gateways, though. It's not that many.
And DIMAGA's going for +1 range weapons here. Did he get Carapace?
That makes sense. So 5 gateway pressure, as you like to call it. A little attack, followed by Robo, and go over to Colossus afterwards.
Zergling's going to go for a counterattack here for DIMAGA, though, trying to keep his opponent back where he can. Tries to get into the natural, but no cigar there for him. As HasuObs moving across the map here. It's a well-placed proxy pylon, because it's hard to actually detect that if you don't have the Zerglings in the right position. Whoop.
All right, so a lot of Zerglings, 48 to be exact. What's he going to warp in next? He's got the 3rd base coming down, immediately spotted here.
Overlord
and he's
well
warping his
positioned.
sentries at home. Okay, it's not even an attack. It's like nothing. It's a tickle.
It's a
not
mega
even a
fake.
pressure. It's a tickle, and he doesn't have a recall, so he has to be very careful here.
The Angel won out, Apollo. I'm sorry.
Call between 2 minds, right? He did the middle. But if we look at it, though, that he does have a healthy amount of gateways and units to defend a 3rd, even out in the open, if he has to. So it does kind of make sense, his kind of game plan. But moving out like that usually is to slow a Zerg player down. And I look at it, I don't think he slowed DIMAGA down that much here.
How many drones is he currently sitting at?
He's sitting at 63. He did just build a few more, though, so he was probably a little bit lower.
Zergling's going to try and go for a little bit of an attack, but no. And once again, doesn't allow that at the natural as well. So HasuObs, well defended once again. He is going to go back to the HasuObs that we know of. I'm going to sit around and try and macro up and get Void Ray Colossus and see how that works. But DIMAGA is already getting his Hive on the way. So that timing that hit in Game 1 could quite easily hit in Game 2.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. It's identical. Oh, excuse me. I pulled a Kennigan. sorry. I don't know. I just couldn't talk there. What I do want to say, though, is that the Twilight Council is much faster in this game compared to previously. Not much faster, but faster.
Yeah.
That's going to allow the Templar to even bank up energy. So we'll pretty much see exactly the same scenario as previously. But on Belshazzar Vestige, force fields are a lot easier to pull off.
Exactly.
Compared to this map. That's the only difference of how this game will play out.
Yeah, he has to... If he sits around and defends his either 2nd or 3rd base, then yes, he'll save that, but there's always the potential for DIMAGA to put the pressure on if HasuObs is not situated on the low ground. And unfortunately for HasuObs, that's where he has to be to really shut down damage from being done. But it's so tough to take the engagement for Hasu.
Oh, a 2nd robotics facility too. This is really cool. So what he's going to do is get the Templar out to feedback to stop the timing, and then counterattack with a lot of Colossus.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, considering the composition is without Carapace. It's very weak when it comes to armor. A couple of rays from Colossus will kill everything really fast here, but he still has to survive the timing. He's just setting up the counterattack after the timing is hit.
And now just accumulating even more roaches and hydras. That muscular augments is going to be finished up very soon with the army supply way in DIMAGA's favor right now by about 30. His units aren't as cost efficient, of course, to a certain degree, depending on where he positions them. But now, Hasu just moving around. He actually might want to try and secure a 4th base, but if he tries to and spreads himself that thinly...
He can't, he won't. He has to accept this timing first. It's coming, he knows it's coming. He has to deal with it first. then he can start to think about other areas. He's even built a cannon in the middle ground where he's going to have to defend. So you can see that even though these players, well, even though HasuObs saw this coming minutes and minutes and minutes ago, he's been preparing for this very attack, which he knows is coming for a good while now. And Storm is on its way to perfect. I'm so excited for the counterattack potential here. Remember that he's only just now started +2. It's not about his upgrades here. It's just simply about having too many Colossus for his opponent to deal with.
And even bringing some Spore Crawlers along with him for the Riders. DIMAGA now maxed out and trying to find a position to actually assault his opponent with that +2 about to finish up. If he goes before that +2, I think it will be a little bit hazardous. He does need to hit his timings, though, of course, and he's actually just going to go for it whatever, because
protect the Colossus.
finishing up. And he catches one of the Void Rays. One of the Colossus gets pulled in as well there. Doesn't have any more pulls left, but really not that much firepower left in that Protoss army either.
Force fields!
Oh, trying to drain from those 2 Spore Crawlers that he's brought along with him. Good force fields, not too bad time warps as well. Really slowing down the army behind him. But DIMAGA, with the Spore Crawlers that have already come along, he could quite easily pull a few more of those units towards him.
Oh, he will, mate. That's really smart to bring the Spore Crawlers.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing? And then I kind of realized now. And he's going to pull these 2 Colossus in a second. HasuObs needs to keep on holding 2 more Colossus on the way if he can get to them. That's big, but he also doesn't want to allow the Colossus to get pulled out before they even get anywhere. The High Templar going in. Good Storm. Oh, on the ramp as well.
Very, very nice Storm indeed, along with a few pulls straight towards these Hydralisks as well as Roaches. But there's not enough firepower to actually kill those off. But behind this, DIMAGA is still got 190 supply. He's getting Zul'Shul's Cavern up as well, +3 weapons for the range going down. So he's going to have a lot of firepower in range units. I think he could still keep funneling along. Look how many units coming across the map.
Yeah, but there's 2 Colossus in the air and 2 Void Rays. There's no Hydras here at all.
That's true.
He's got the charge. He needs to pull his Colossus back. Oh, gets caught on the ramp.
Will be able to catch the other one, so there's actually nothing to wall. He walks in. Very, very good there. And HasuObs will be able to hold this off for now. As you said, no Hydralisks make it very difficult for him to fully break this position.
The Colossus. Time War comes down to try to save, but they get caught. And one gets pulled to the left there. One will survive just about, but gosh, can he make this any closer? He needs to keep these Colossus alive if he's going to keep this hold up.
Frantic engagement here. DIMAGA has to pull back just a little bit. Once again, these Void Rays are worth their weight in gold right now as they constantly push on back those Roaches. How many Hydralisks does he have?
He's got quite a few out now, I think. Well, 8. That's not enough to deal with the Void Rays, but another attack is coming in. 20 supply different. He's making the hold, but he did squeeze a 4th base down, which is going to go get picked off here. So a little bit unfortunate that is found so easily here. But there is a pylon down the south side here. As the Zerg moves out, counterattacks can be launched, but it's only 2 Zealots. These 2 Zealots can kill drones, but they cannot kill a hatchery, so 3 more get warped in. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. If he maintains the hold, which he's doing, and also snipes a hatchery, if DIMAGA's too far out, that actually puts HasuObs in the lead despite being behind in supply.
Yeah, sitting comfortable on 3 bases here whilst getting double Colossus out and High Templars and anything else he wants to mix in, retaining a few of those Void Rays whilst his opponent's going on to... He had it on double evolutionary chamber, trying to get 1-1 for his
DIMAGA, get back.
Ultras.
No, kill the hatchery. Don't kill the Queen.
Yeah.
Kill the hatchery.
He has to kill it. I mean, he has to try.
Okay, so the reason why he didn't kill the hatchery is because he had no idea where the army was. He was like, maybe I have time, maybe I don't. If I don't get anything done here, then it's a waste, so I'll get something done. Not a gambling man is HasuObs, let's say that.
No, no, no. Stable and Sturdy is HasuObs' middle name, or middle names, as Hasu does pull back with the majority of this Colossus as well. So can't take engagements in the middle of the map. Maybe he was trying to clean up some creep, but DIMAGA's actually doing a really, really good job of gooping up this entire map. As Hasu, he's going back to his old tricks. It's going to be Zealots everywhere.
Yep, Zealots everywhere. Now switching his... actually shouldn't be building any more Colossus. It should be all Immortals. The next stage of a Zerg player, every single time, is going to be going over towards Ultralisks. Any other unit composition late game does not work until you get maybe a million Swarm Hosts or something. So he is taking a bit of a risk, but DIMAGA is a big, big fan of Ultralisks. Every single game against Terran and Protoss, he will go for them. So he's making that composition right, while adding on the Dark Shrine, and should be adding on a 4th base at the same time. There's going to be a Dark Shrine to harass, 4th base to help defend and increase his economy, as his main base is pretty much run down.
Still maxed out, and he's getting that Spire as well, though, is DIMAGA. The Dark Shrine, again, it adds extra annoyance to DIMAGA, and I don't know how he actually can stay sturdy without actually trying to do some damage here. He has to try and do something, but the army supplies are so close, and HasuObs' army is so cost efficient, and he's adding on Immortals as well.
Yeah, he's got a very, very strong army, but he never wants to fight until this 4th base is down and established. So that means pylons and cannons all around it, and then he can start to move out. In the meantime, he needs to just stop harassing again. He's still got... Well, he's actually walked... the Zealots down to the bottom. They actually warped in from his third base because he has no pylon. DIMAGA cleaned them up really nicely here. But the biggest problem for a Zerg player at this stage of the game is after the survival period of Protoss, which has happened, is look at how DIMAGA's 5th and 6th base are laid out. Bottom right, far top left.
Yeah.
That's really difficult to defend both, if not impossible, which means that harass one of them, move the, or what you, okay, in the best world, move your army to one of them, or, okay, so let me start. Erase that again. Harass one, pull the Zerg army to defend it, pick off the other with the main army.
Yeah.
That's how it should always be on the 5th and 6th base, which is probably what we'll start seeing once that 4th base is established with its gateways and cannons, which is now happening.
And then maybe even utilize recall along with that to keep yourself extra safe. But the thing is, we saw similar to this yesterday. TLO was not able to defend himself across an entire map as big as something like Whirlwind. And Derelict Watcher, despite it being small and compact in its entirety, as you said, that 5th and 6th locations are so far apart, even with creep, even with a highly mobile composition.
All right, Protoss army looking very scary. There's Storm, there's Colossus, there's Void Rays, there's Archons, there's Zealots. There's no Stalkers, though, because they suck. Everything else is great. A Roach attack, though, to the north here. There's a High Temple, not quite with Storm. Only 3 cannons. If this Nexus... Oh, okay. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, those Roaches aren't going to do too much there. Nice recall. Doesn't want to lose that. That 4th base would have gone down, by the way, so...
Yeah. Knock, knock. Who's there? Well, Dark Shrine and Dark Templar trying to do some damage up to the top left, but that gets shut down along with these Roaches trying to find a way in, but unfortunately for them, they're going to be greeted by a wall of Zealots. Yep.
Nice little trap there. Zealots are going to kill everything. Now the Fleet Beacon's coming in. The Fleet Beacon, I would say, was more for +2 attack than Tempest, but it is HasuObs, and he is a slow player.
Yeah, he loves
so it
his
is going to be, but it's definitely going to be for +2 as well afterwards. A couple of Tempests adding into the mix, I guess, can work out.
He really does like them. Maybe it 2 or 3 just to protect himself. If Broodlords would come out, it's very unlikely that would happen, though. He's more happy to sit around in the middle of the map and slowly pick away at the composition. A very annoying position to be in there for the Zerg.
Yeah, and in all honesty, I really believe, I know, in fact, I don't believe I know, is that the Zerg army, at this stage of the game, we talked about it before, the early to mid stages, that's when DIMAGA wins, which happened in Game 1, and now looking at Game 2, we're past that point. I'd heavily favor HasuObs to win this game from this point. His army's so strong. His micro's always been one of his key attributes as a player, is his micro and his ability to control the fight well. And now with a superior army and lots of money in the bank, HasuObs, I guarantee that all his money he earns from pro gaming is in a bank somewhere, because that's how he likes to play it in StarCraft.
No, that's very true. Doesn't overextend in the slightest, be it in StarCraft or real life. As with that, +2 weapons is now on the way for those air units for HasuObs. And again, there's not going to be a direct fight from HasuObs for a long time. He is going to avoid it until he's got the absolutely pristine composition out. He's on 4 bases. Well, I mean, he's on pseudo 4 bases. He's not gonna overextend too easily.
He's just gonna climb up his air upgrades. He'll take a fight if he finds a good one to take, but he won't force one. He'll keep up the harassment, so DT at the top left, army down the bottom right, exactly as we pointed out earlier, the way to play it out. The problem, though, he has to be very careful about, is losing the Mothership Core and getting stung by all these infestors and their fungal growth.
Yeah, they're scary. They are.
Oh, DIMAGA's coming around. He's coming around. He's going to try and catch this army. He's actually going to take a fight here. He's going to force the issue. The Mothership Core should recall out, but if he messes up and the Hydras pick it off,
could be scary here. He throws down preemptive storms to try and push this all away. He has to set that Mothership Core and pull out, but at the same time, DIMAGA didn't want to take the fight too easily. Those storms really fended off DIMAGA nicely there, but the infestors try and watch. Oh, some great feedbacks, catch a lot of them. 4 of them go down super fast. The fungal does not hit in the end as well. Good storms as well as some good hits, but they recalls out that Ultralisk wall too much. Really
good. He actually killed off the base down the bottom and picked off a couple of Ultras, couple of Infestors, and went out without losing anything. That was a very cost-efficient fight there from HasuObs, without even really fighting. You know, that's the classic way. That's the new 2013 hipster way. It's the hipster way to kill the creep tumors. Welcome to 2013, yo.
Didn't we see? Who was it? I think it might have been Hasu who killed a missile turret with probes as well in the past game. He killed a missile.
HasuObs is hip.
He is hip, man. He just needs a scarf and some glasses. Actually, I can't imagine that now that I think about it.
If he gets a Thorzane hipster makeover.
The Thorzane hipster makeover. Yeah, man.
It's like there should be a television show where pro gamers get the hipster makeover. Thorzane was episode 1.
Do you think Thorzane?
He was the pilot episode of it.
He was. It went all right for him, apparently.
Actually, I take that back. It was definitely the pilot episode with Stefano Bling. It was like a duo.
Didn't they dress up as like Jesus or something?
Oh man, those two.
They dressed up as hippies, in fact.
Hippie and Jesus or something, or hippies overall.
Those guys.
Two were the original hipster makeovers, and then Thorzane was the second. Please send your suggestions to hipster makeovers to #WCS.
Yes.
We
#WCS.
want to know who you think should get a hipster makeover. Who's next?
#hipster makeover. Awesome stuff. All right.
Fight time.
Let's see if he's actually going to be able to take this, though. A lot of Corruptors there. Very, very clumped up. Doesn't want to clump them up too much. Those Archons are going to rip them apart. And actually, the Mothership Core does have enough to recall if he wants to. He's getting sandwiched here from all angles. And the fungal growth actually hit them.
The Mothership Core's gone.
Oh, he neural parasite the Mothership Core. You can't recall from that. He's losing a lot of those expensive units. But at the same time, DIMAGA, in turn, is being bottlenecked up here. That pylon and the positioning of those Archons and Zealots, those Ultralists can't get full coverage on that ground army.
DIMAGA, in the words of Tasteless, got bopped.
Got bopped.
Absolutely bopped here. That was a very one-sided fight. Look at the supply differences. As mentioned, in the later stages of the game, HasuObs will win. He was very clumped up, but in those positions when Zealots are at the front, Protoss will always win that. GG, and the series is tied up as you called, and we're going to game 3.
As they do it in Canada, as is tradition. 1-1 here, HasuObs and DIMAGA.
Yeah, it's quite a cool series, actually.
Yeah.
What was the... And the tournament I did in the beta was King of the Hill, the King of the Hill thing I did.
I remember, yeah.
In Sweden. It was HasuObs and Gosu User, I think, that played one of the best series in that stage of the game. They played one of the best Protoss vs. games I'd seen in a while. And, you know, this was a good game, too. A nice game. I think that makes this such a nice game is that Game 1 was like, you know, throwing the ball up.
Yeah.
Because then we kind of saw how DIMAGA won, and in Game 2, we knew what HasuObs had to do to survive. And then this Game 2 was a nice slam dunk.
Yeah.
And Game 3 is a fresh game.
Yeah, you're right. Newkirk Precinct is the map. And HasuObs, once again, if he gets past those points that we spoke about earlier, the early, the mid game, it's his late game focus that's going to win him out. DIMAGA, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if he tries to break his opponent once again on that third base. It's pretty open on Newkirk Precinct, and he may go for it in the mid-game. But Hasu, if he can hold on to that point, it's so hard to break him from then.
I think we could see a Warp Prism play here from HasuObs on Newkirk.
You're right.
I reckon a double Void Ray, Phoenix play, whatever the case, but into Warp Prism play could be quite strong.
Yeah.
He's able to clean out these overlords, similar to how we saw TLO play yesterday and defended it against Mana. That could be a build. It could be a strategy to see.
No, you're right. I mean, that's something that HasuObs has exhibited. Again, we spoke about the two extremes of HasuObs. There's the full macro play, very defensive play, but then there's also the fallback to that kind of aggression that if he sees the opportunity to, if he sees the window, he'll go for it.
Yeah. All right. We'll see if that's going to be the case, though, because we are into the game. It's going to... Looks like both players are ready. I'm going to say... Because I don't think that HasuObs will survive to that late game, I'm going to put this in favor of DIMAGA this map.
It being Newkirk Precinct, surviving at that third base and trying to deal with that aggression, it's difficult. So if Hasu's reading it as we are, then it might be that two-base play.
All right, we'll see. So we're about to load into this. And the winner of this, remember, does move on to join the 6 other players that we have in the round of 16. Which one will it be? One map remaining to decide.
As we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner as our blue Protoss, tying things up 1-1 with absolutely fantastic resilience. He is Mao's HasuObs. And spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner as our red Zerg. He's blasting off at the speed of light. He's from Team Rocket. He is DIMAGA.
All right, this is going to be an interesting game to finish and wrap up this series. Whether it be DIMAGA just completely doing something crazy or HasuObs. But the reason why I said that the series is reset is because DIMAGA did something game 1, it worked, attempted it in game 2, and it didn't work. So I don't think he does the same in game 3. So I think it's a fresh game to finish and wrap up this series.
And we'll see now as HasuObs gears himself up for this. Do you think he goes Forge in base again? I think... No, he's actually not. What am I on about? He's already got the pylon down at the natural, so he's going to be going for... I won't be surprised if he went for a Nexus first, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely could try a Forge play, but he already would have sent down the... actually, where's the probe? Okay, it's on the other side, sorry. He would have sent down a new probe to start to build that Forge, or get ready to build it. So I'm expecting just a Nexus play from him here, like 17 Nexus, 17 Forge, or something along those lines. DIMAGA, though? Is it pool?
Is it indeed?
Yeah, okay, so just 15 pool, so just the same. It's very interesting that DIMAGA, I think he may have done a bit of research on Duck Duck.
Yeah, definitely.
To go hatch first both games blindly, and then in this series to go for spawning pool twice in a row. Or at least maybe he's played a lot against HasuObs and knows that HasuObs does like the option to cannon rush to get the nice and early win.
Well, as I said before, they certainly have played each other a lot. Not too much recently, but there has been a long, long record of these guys playing together. And some of the earlier stages of this game, of this matchup even, haven't changed a whole lot. The whole kind of ability to go for a cannon rush can still be very, very similar to Wings of Liberty. But the Forge is on the way, and HasuObs going for a bit more of a safer Nexus with that Forge before. Yeah,
17 Forge then the Nexus. So cannon will 100% complete. If you go 17 Nexus and 17 Forge, Zerglings, if built like 4 to 6, can get in. They will run past because you won't have enough money to make the wall off unless you cut probes and you basically hurt your economy. So he's not hurting his economy. He just slowed it down a little bit to make sure that he doesn't have any of those problems.
And now with that expansion on the way as well for Mr. DIMAGA, getting his first queen out as well. He's playing his standard build, getting everything up and running. But he also knows what his opponent's doing. He has that Overlord in position to spot what's going on. He'll head down to the natural, see the timings of everything, and from that point on, plan from there.
And, just as this game is starting to, get on its way, just start rolling a little bit, I'm serious. For the first time, I'm being serious. Do make sure to, let us know who you want to advance in first and second place from this group. And just include a hashtag WCS when you do that. And another thing to open, just on your tab, you probably, if you're in your bed, forget about it or use your phone. If you're at your PC, just like close the window from full screen if you're watching full screen. And just open a new tab and go to starcraft2.com/WCS. And just check out the website. It's actually got full standings, information, VODs, and just a database for the collective WCS that's ongoing. So definitely check those, or not check both out, but check the website out and do some Twitter hashtagging.
And also, if you've actually missed any of the previous WCSs, you can check out WCS Today to get a little bit informed as to what's actually going on. Lovely video series that Blizzard are putting out, keeping people updated on exactly what's going on elsewhere. So very, very informative here. WCS, it's got you covered, man. It's got you covered.
WCS is your daily StarCraft needs. And talking about daily StarCraft needs, tomorrow is the day 2 of the round of 16 OSL. So
it is.
If you're in Europe right now, it's so you know that you were watching this at 6 p.m. because we shout at you every single day. Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. begins day 2, where Flash and Innovation will go up against each other for their Flash's first game.
To decide who wins the entire tournament. No, I'm joking.
To decide who wins it all. So lots of WCS all around the board. But now, focusing back onto this game, we do have the Stargate as the option. This is lining up towards a potential Warp Prism play. Not calling it too early here, but everything so far is along those lines. It's a very strong build on this map to aim towards the ramp, as we saw yesterday. And unless you pull off a perfect defense, which you saw Tilo do yesterday, it is a very nice way to win a game.
And you got to remember, HasuObs and Mana, they're on the same team, guys. They certainly share ideas and things like that. They do have a team chat on Skype, which I'm actually still part of now that I think about it. But now DIMAGA pokes on forwards here. Has a look around. Hasn't seen the Stargate just yet. He needs to actually spot what's going on. The Void Rays are on the way. And again, we've seen HasuObs open with Void Rays before, but there are certain different paths he can use to make those Void Rays work.
HasuObs has never been a heavy multitasking player, I don't think. When he's zoned in on one thing, that's where his strengths lie. And he's gone Void Ray every single game. Phoenix takes a lot more speed. For example, a play like Liquid Hero will absolutely go Phoenixes all the time and be able to harass you, pick off fine holes and weaknesses while keeping up his macro back at home. But if he wants to go for the Warp Prism play, he would have wanted to throw down the robotics facility in the next couple of seconds. Otherwise, it's going to be too late. So depending on what he does, if he throws down gateways or robotics facility, could push us to believe what his plan's going to be. And it's additional gateways. He hasn't researched +1 attack, which would suggest if he had got that earlier, he wanted to move out. but he's gone up to a total of 4 gateways now. Still got a lot of gas. I think he may try to pressure again and maybe take a third here. He's not going for what I suggested or what I thought he may have gone for.
Yeah, and now with that, with the option open here for DIMAGA to try and break a third base if HasuObs actually goes for it, there could be a lot of chaos involved here for HasuObs, because this third can be notoriously difficult to hold if DIMAGA with +1 weapons and a lot of roaches, etc., is able to make that pressure work.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult for sure. And this is definitely an expansion play for HasuObs. He's going to go ahead and take his expansion. He's got sentries and zealots, or at least he's going to have a composition around those units to make sure he doesn't lose to just simple Zerglings coming in. But these 2 Void Rays, there's no Spore Crawl because he has no idea. They'll pick off the Queen very easily.
Oh, is he gonna... Well, I guess the spawning pool is going to be the focal point here.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, and it will go down.
With that going down, that means he doesn't really need to worry too much about his third base being under attack. So it's quite nice, actually.
Yeah.
Well, there are Zerglings and Roaches out there, but he needs to move down with the units. Just Zealots. The Void Rays come back to help defend it, and he'll take it.
Yeah, and just to kind of explain that a little bit further for people that may be a little bit newer to StarCraft, the Zerglings at this point, they're the most mobile units of the game. Gliry Constitution is only now just on the way, so if Roaches actually want to pressure, there are a few there right now, but any reinforcements that would want to come along and pressure this third base, going to be significantly slower at this point.
All right, so good force fields to take his thirds, and that's never going to ever get cancelled. But I'd like to point out that the spawning pool, as cool as it was being able to pick that off, has not affected this game at all.
Yeah.
There was no attempt to be, to harass this third base, only just the Hive coming down once again. So DIMAGA is going to play again like he did in map number 1 and map number 2. And as we see the Twilight Council coming down as well, we're going to have the same, type of defense. The one thing that HasuObs needs to focus on in his third base is to create a line of gateways straight down the left-hand side of his Nexus on his third base. Because this, basically, if he has cannons and a wall, then he doesn't need to worry about units coming from this side. Then he has to just fight in one area. Even look at that, actually. Above his army, 1 pylon. Gateways could actually come around to make a wall or cannons. Either way, he's kind of narrowing the angle for where the Zerg army is going to probably come in if he's expecting that kind of attack.
Any way he can actually throw down any buildings there is going to be fantastic. It messes around a lot with the, I want to say AI, but in the end, it's just the general positioning of the Zerg army that gets very, very hindered by these kinds of spots here. As DIMAGA now, he's got those Vipers on the way. He's not going to be bringing Spore Crawls anytime soon. That will take a long time to actually get across the map. But expanding doubly behind this as well, trying to get his economy up and running whilst going for maybe a little bit of a counterattack positioning Zerglings to do so. But Storm's already being researched, as are those High Templars already out. All
right, so mirror games so far. And again on the third base, extending that wall a little bit with another pylon and another cannon in the middle of that. So he's really just making sure that wall is complete. We do have a Zealot, though, just looking for external bases. But one thing we can note this time around, there is no pylon on the other side of the map. There is no harassment potential. It's all coming down to this defense. And it's looking quite nice. He's got a good army in good position. Mothership core ready and locked and loaded to go.
And with that, the Zealot, I'm going to start whacking away at one of those hatcheries, but not much else here as HasuObs just tries to retain this third base. Unit counts for our Zerg player.
All right. He's actually just sent a probe into the Zerg army. He knows it's coming. It's about to make its movement down. HasuObs knows it's coming. He's spotted it. The Gateway Wharf is coming in as well to help this. Oh, feedback 1.
Ooh.
Needs the other one. Can he get the feedback on the other one?
We'll see. Good time warp there will slow down a lot of that army as it did bring down some of the walls. There's the second feedback that he needed to actually
Don't
stop
lose the third, though. He can't lose the third.
Oh, that's a lot of firepower that he has here. He's just going to try and focus down a lot of this army. He's got full surround even with the Roaches at the back here, but the Colossus is still being alive. And that's great here for HasuObs. He's got a lot of firepower still retained here. Photon Overcharge as well, allowing this to work out. The supply counts are very, very even right now. DIMAGA is not breaking this, and HasuObs takes the supply advantage for a second.
Wow, and he maintains his third, doesn't lose it, loses a couple of probes here and there, of course, but nothing else. That was a much better.
Yeah.
So throughout this series, in game 1, 2, and 3, this was the best defense here from HasuObs. 17 more Hydras on the way, but what are 17 Hydras with 1 Viper gonna do against 3 Colossus and a High Temple that can easily storm? HasuObs sets up his defense. I think this is the perfect time to move south, kill the destructible debris or the debris, and just take a fall. This is optimal.
Yeah, he's in a great position now with that Mothership Core pops as well. Again, accruing a little bit of energy so that he can eventually, if he wants to, go for that Ooh, but hey, there we go. 2 Spires going down for DIMAGA to change things up a little bit here.
Yeah, he's gonna. It could be Great Aspire, but I would like to see double upgrades coming in.
Into Muta?
Yeah, I think it may be Great Aspire though. Muta's good. But it depends on how many, because at this point is a safety point for HasuObs to soon take a 4th and throw down a 2nd, 3rd Stargate.
Yeah.
If that was to be the case, even Void Rays, man, even Void Rays with the Archons and Stalkers will destroy Mutalisk. So I'm more inclined to say Great Aspire here.
All right, well, we'll see here as DIMAGA gears up for that once those Spires finish up and get going. As the 2nd Robo Facility, as well as Dark Shrine, goes down for HasuObs. So once again, really kind of switching up his tech to make it harder for DIMAGA to deal with. We already saw his Dark Templar and Zealot Harassment performing so well in game number 1. So why not go for that again? Why fix what's not broken?
That's right. That's right. He's got a great army set up. Definitely time to take a 4th base, though. Just depends on where he wants to take it. He's going to take it up to the top right here. Okay, that's fine to do so. And I'm so certain it's going to be a Great Aspire. Come on, please. The Spire finishes up. Come on, please.
Well, with the armor on the way first, it's... Oh, well,
all right, so 30 Mutalisks coming in. The reason why I want to see Great Aspire is because Ultralisk won't cut it. And a straight-up fight, I don't even think Mutalisk cut it here. I mean, at this point, there's not too much mobility for the army of HasuObs. He only has 3 Stalkers, 2 Archons, and 1 Void Ray. That's his anti-air. But he does have Storm. And he can very easily add on extra Stargates, which he's doing, and even warp in Stalkers, too. I'd be interested to see how this works out.
Even the Fleet Beacon, as well as that 2nd Stargate's going down. So he's preparing himself very, very aptly here for that kind of potential. The Hallucinated Phoenix is darting into the natural and should actually see 2 of those Spires. I wonder if HasuObs just saw that. As
yes, he starts Phoenix. He knows it now,
yeah.
So he spotted it and now knows it. So the Mutalisks are in the main base anyway, so he pulls his pros back. He needs to bring the Void Rays High Templar in to defend this. Where is he going? He's going to move out. No, he's moving back. Okay. That's a lot of probes going down.
That's a lot of Mutalisks doing the damage. You're right here. With that now, he's killed off quite a few probes indeed. Will pull out for now, but can still continue to be very annoying, and he doesn't want to lose those Phoenix. Oh, he needs to retain those if he wants to combat this for a long time.
He's killed about 20-ish probes so far, pushing HasuObs down to 55. That's a nice blow, while DIMAGA's taking a lot of bases around the map here.
A few more Mutalisks.
Phoenix is on the way, and we do not have the range upgrade being researched yet either.
He's just sat on this base, though, with these mutas. He's just completely sat there. HasuObs, is this a sign of impatience?
Well, he's got the range coming in, but if he moves out here, he's just going to lose the Fleet Beacon anyway.
Yeah.
I have no idea which way this is going to go. There's a lot of Mutalisks out. 23 with 9 more on the way.
I'm very surprised that HasuObs is actually just marching across the map here with his entire army. It looks like he's almost opting for a base trade. He probably should recall after sniping off some of the more active bases, I should think, but because he has a lot of energy for storms, but again, against Mutalisks, that can be even tricky in itself.
I'm just... He's killed off the base in the middle. He's got Zealots to the top left, so he can pick off the... You know, the 9 o'clock base too with simple Zealots. He's picking off another base now. He must recall back to his thirds.
His firepower...
After this attack, surely.
His firepower wins out, technically, but the Zerg's got so much money saved up that he could go everywhere. Look how many drones are evacuating. He'll be fine.
I don't know how this little base race is going to go on. There's only 3 Phoenixes out. HasuObs is trying... Okay, so if HasuObs can pick off both the natural and the main base, then recall to his third before it dies, then he may win this game still. It's so close. I really don't know which way this is going to do. If he loses the Mothership core, then he's not recalling anytime soon.
Yeah, if those Corruptors would have turned around and just sniped it out, that would have been a fantastic pickup there for DIMAGA. But once again, Storms go down. And the thing is that all those Storms that he's expending now, that's pretty much his anti-air that he's going to have, aside from these Phoenix that are being cranked out 3 at a time.
The Phoenixes did get the range, though. And 3 more Phoenixes are coming in.
He didn't kill the Fleet Beacon?
No. There's the recall. Oh. And he says GG. He knows he was never going to beat that army.
Wow.
HasuObs split decision-making, picks off everything that he has, and makes the recall home to fight the Mutalisks on that third.
It had to happen.
HasuObs, you know, decision-making, just split decision-making, win or lose. And HasuObs, despite everybody not expecting him to do so, makes his way through this group in first place.
As first place, yeah. He's done very, very impressively. I think most people would have had their money on either DIMAGA or maybe even Daishi if they'd have believed a lot of the hype that's out there right now, revolving around his very impressive plays in Acer Team Story Cup. But that does it. HasuObs, the German representing here. So there definitely will be one German in the round of 16. Maybe not the one you thought of, though.
Maybe not the one you thought of, but at least there is one. But that now means that we have DIMAGA, Daishi, and DuckDuck to fight for one spot. DIMAGA has the advantage because he won his first game and will be sitting in that comfortable position awaiting the winner of our next game that's going to be coming up, DuckDuck and Daishi.
But before that, we shall go to a short break, and then when we're back, we shall have an interview with Mao's HasuObs himself, so don't go anywhere.